The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Tonight we have a fantastic class of inductees whose faces and stories will forever be enshrined into the hall. It's a big night, and I know so because Rob Van Stone is wearing a long-sleeved Ryder dress shirt. There's been a recent trend with the induction classes into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, and it's a trend that sees many of the builders and supporters of our community being recognized for their outstanding contributions to the Regina sports landscape, and it's a trend that continues this year. It serves as a reminder that for every athlete that's putting in the time, the energy, and the passion into their performance, there are coaches challenging their athletes to be better, imparting wisdom and direction, helping athletes unlock previously unknown potentials. There are officials ensuring fairness and impartiality to our contests. There are volunteers serving on executive boards, providing athletes with the organizational structure required to participate in their chosen sport here at home. And there are media members, the storytellers of our community, the individuals who take the scores and the results and show you the people behind those outcomes, each word a brushstroke on the canvas that the sports community is. Tonight, as we always do at this time of the year, we'll celebrate the togetherness that comes with the Thanksgiving long weekend, and we'll welcome another class of deserving inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. But it's been quite a week, hasn't it? We've all got a George Reed story. How could we not? He shook hands and shared words and posed for photos with damn near everyone in the room. Not so much recently, but there was a time where it seemed like he was everywhere. I've got like 87 George Reed stories, and I'll share my favorite with you here this evening. My Aunt Vicky and my Uncle Bruce bleed green. Bruce is from Prince Albert, Vicky's from Branspeth, which is a tiny little pinhole town on the highway near Birch Hills, and they are diehards. They have seen the ups and the downs and the all the way arounds. And in 2013, they celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary by coming to Regina to watch the Riders take on the BC Lions. Now, I was still the sports guy at CTV at the time, so I was able to finagle a couple of little perks, a couple of things to try and make their trip a little extra special. I managed to pull some favor with management at CTV, and I was able to secure the company tickets. I also got them access to the Green and White Lounge. I met them at their seats. We all went into the lounge for a drink. Bruce and Vicky sat at the table, and I hustled up to the bar to grab a round. And on my way back from the bar, I ran into George. We exchanged hellos, as we always did, and I told him that my aunt and uncle were in from Prince Albert for the game and that they were celebrating their anniversary. I offhandedly mentioned that if he would drop by the table, it would solidify my position as number one nephew for the rest of time. And without even a moment's hesitation, George said, "Sure thing, where are they at?" I swear to God, I thought Bruce was going to pass out when I returned from the bar with 2 dark rum and cokes, a vodka soda lime, and George freaking Reed. And George did what we all know George did. He made my aunt feel like the most important people in the room. In a stadium populated by thousands, in a green and white lounge populated by hundreds, he made my aunt and uncle feel like they were the only people there. He held private audience with the 2 of them. He asked if they often made it down for games. They didn't. They asked if I was treating them well. I was. And he wished them a happy anniversary, and I asked if they wanted me to take a picture. And there it is. And I'm sure that there are literally tens of thousands of photos just like this one out there. In fact, I'm sure most of you in the room have one just like it. And as I was preparing my remarks this week, I stumbled across a message from George on the Foundation website, and I'll share it with you now. We need heroes. They believe in us. They teach us to believe in others and ourselves. They inspire us to become more than who we are. A true hero touches the lives of many and does so selflessly and without thanks. True heroes walk amongst us, silently giving their time, their energy, and their passion. George Reed, Hall of Fame fullback, true hero. And there won't be another one like him, at least not in this lifetime anyways. Now, before we get too much deeper into the evening, I want to invite Regina Sports Hall of Fame Board Chair Frank Kovacs to the podium to bring us remarks from the board chair's chair. Frank.
All right. I'd first like to begin by acknowledging that we are in treaty land, referred to as Treaty 4, and that the City of Regina and all the people here are beneficiaries of this treaty. Treaty 4 encompasses the lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. Treaty 4 is a place where we all live and come together as a community to enjoy sports in so many different ways on the waters, grass, and under the sunshine of Mother Earth. I'd also acknowledge at this time that we lost another very important member of our sports community, Brad Tippett. I'm a former coach myself, Regina Pats. I know we have a lot of Regina Pat representation here today, and just want to give my condolences to the family. He'll be dearly missed. Thank you, Chris, for your kind introduction. I have to say, one of the most stressful parts of organizing an event like this is to try and find the right person to be the MC. We are so very fortunate to have Chris, who is very talented in what he does. Chris has graciously taken on this role for a number of years now, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for your commitment to being the MC once again for this ceremony. Chris, each and every year you have done nothing short of an absolute amazing job. I recognize that it takes a lot of time and effort to prepare for this event, and we just want to say thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I am so very proud to be part of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame as a past inductee and now as a president. The Regina Sports Hall of Fame is a non-profit organization that was formed to honor athletes, builders, teams, and patrons who have contributed to sports in Regina. This will be the 23rd induction ceremony for the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. There are now 120 inductees in the hall, breaking down to 46 athletes, 53 builders, 14 teams, and 7 patrons. There are also 150 honorary members with Regina connections who had previously been inducted into the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to take this time to congratulate this wonderful class of 2023 inductees. What you all have either achieved or given to your sport is absolutely remarkable, and you are all very well deserved at being inducted into the Hall of Fame. This is a very special year for me as I have close ties to 2 of the inductees this year, Bob Strum and Rob Vanstone. Bob was the GM head coach of the Regina Pats in the 80s when I was a little guy, and he sent my first letter to me to have a trial with Regina Pats. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. I still have the letter, actually. So that was an amazing thing. And Rob and I actually got to go back to the Regina Pats as well as my first year of the Pats back in 1987. It was Rob's first year with Regina Leader Post, and he was a reporter, and we became close friends through many, many great conversations. So it's an honor for me to see both of you become inductees. Congratulations. For me, the Regina Sports Hall of Fame represents so much more than the success people had in their sport. That's a big part of it. But I believe it goes way past that. It represents all the moms, the dads, uncles, aunts, family, friends, and maybe even neighbors who have given their time, love, encouragement, support, and finances to each athlete, not only in Regina, but across the world, to help them learn so much more than the sport they're involved in. Each athlete is learning so many important life skills like cooperation, selfishness, discipline, being coachable, teamwork, sense of belonging, strong work ethic, gaining confidence, making healthy life choices, and so many more life skills. I can almost bet that almost every athlete in any Hall of Fame in the world did not give it their all to be recognized, but they gave it their all because of their passion they had, the dedication, love for their sport. I would also like to believe that when people, especially our youth, walk by our Hall of Fame at the Cooperative Center, They look at all the inductees and they're hopefully inspired and encouraged to be the very best they can be in their sport. Sports will always help young people become great people in our communities. And to me, that is the ultimate measure of success. Anyone who has been part of a team knows how very important it is to work together as a team. Teamwork is essential to having success, and that is no different with Regina Sports Hall of Fame. We are made up of executive board members who do so much work behind the scenes to make the Hall a huge success. Good coaches who have success always surround themselves with the best people they can find. That's what we have done at the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. At this time, I'd like for the following board members to stand up and be recognized, and please hold your applause till the end. Our past president, Barry Taman, stand up. Vice President Rod Schmidt, he's in the back there. Treasurer Bob Kraus, Secretary Dale Davis, Head of the Selection Committee, Angela Tiller, board members Doug McCaw, Chris Hodges, Aaron Anderson, and Laura Marshall. Also a special thanks to past board member Marlene Hoffman for all of her volunteer work for coordinating ticket sales and for helping us put this event on tonight. All of us are either members, past inductees, or have personal ties to the Hall, or just have a passion to honor people who have contributed to the sport in Regina. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you all very much. At this time, I'd ask that you please give a big round of applause to these amazing people who do so much work for the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Another big part of our success has come from some major sponsors and supporters. I would like to take this time to acknowledge the following in no particular order. The Saskatchewan Lotteries, who are our funding partner and their support of our hall. The Real District for allowing us to have our Regina Sports Hall of Fame display at the Cooperative Center. Access Communications for the taping of tonight's induction ceremony. The Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame for their ongoing support. And also we'd like to give a special welcome to the new Executive Director, Aaron Stankiewicz, as well as a special note of thanks to Sheila Kelly, who has supported the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for so many years. Also, I'd like to thank the University of Regina, who was the original home of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Molson's for all their support over the years, the Connexus Arts Center, and their staff for hosting our event tonight. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank all of our supporters, members, and those that have donated directly to the Hall of Fame over the past years. We all know sports can be played in the back alleys, on tennis courts, fields, wherever, and it brings so much joy to the people who play the sports. But what puts sports on the map is the fans, their passion, their support, and their love. That's what all of you have that are here tonight. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to honor these great people who have contributed to their sport in remarkable ways. Thanks again for all of us coming together as a team and making this year's event a huge success. Enjoy the night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank. I have a hard time believing that there was any point where he was just a wee tyke, as he referenced himself. It's always special to have former inductees present this evening, serving as the de facto welcoming committee for the new class of honorees. There are many of you in the room here tonight. At this time, I'd ask that you all stand if you've previously been inducted into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame and be warmly acknowledged by the crowd in attendance here. Wonderful, as always, to have you here with us this evening. Tonight we have another fantastic class of inductees who will be joining you, their faces and stories forever enshrined in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. As we get set to introduce our inductees, I just want to mention to the families that are in attendance that you are welcome, and in fact you are robustly encouraged to come to the front of the stage area here and make sure you get the pictures that you're looking for. We'll stop, we'll wait, we'll make sure that you get the pictures that you want. So. The Regina Sports Hall of Fame is all about honoring the past and inspiring the future. Tonight's first inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Rob Vanstone, a patron multi-sports. Regina born and raised, Rob was a graduate of Campbell Collegiate before enrolling at the University of Regina School of Journalism. Rob's career path transcends the ordinary. Most reporters take their first job covering 4-H fairs and quilting bees for the Nowheresville Gazettes, but not our friend Rob. Rob joined the Leader Post as a sports writer in 1987, and that was that for the next 36 years. I now see that it has nothing to do with the words that are coming out of my mouth and has everything to do with the photos that are over my shoulder. Rob became the assistant editor in 1995, a columnist in 1996, and the sports editor in 2001. Over the years, Rob's had a chance to cover some of sport's biggest events: 9 Grey Cups, 2 Olympic Games, 3 Memorial Cups, the 2002 Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and numerous Canadian men's and women's curling championships over the years. Now, when you're in the sports department at the Leader Post, you're going to devote significant time and energy covering 2 things: the Riders and the Pats, and that's just the way it is. But Rob has always had a particular interest in showcasing the accomplishments of amateur athletes who are competing on a smaller stage. If you're a defensive back at the Regina Intercollegiate Football League, a participant at the LIT high school basketball tournament, or an up-and-coming gymnast getting set to travel to a provincial or national competition, chances are Rob's caught your exploits caught Rob's attention. Rob's support of local amateur sports, quite frankly, is unparalleled. In fact, if you're a member of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, chances are pretty good that Rob's mentioned you at some point in his career. Rob has received numerous awards over the years: the Regina High Schools Athletic Association Merit Award, the Murray Sawa Lifetime Achievement Award for contributions to amateur football, and the prestigious WHL Bob Ridley Award for Media Excellence. He's also an avid supporter of the Leader Post Raise a Reader campaign, having collected and sold memorabilia as a fundraiser for a number of years. Just recently, Rob put a 30 on his mainstream media life, taking a position with the Saskatchewan Roughriders as their club historian. No better man for the job. He's also putting the finishing touches on his 4th book, Brave Face: Wild Tales of Hockey Goaltenders in the Era Before Masks, which is currently available for pre-sale on Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Rob Vanstone.
Plaque? There's a dental hygienist here. We're going to do a plaque. Sorry, bad joke.
Here you go, this is yours, this is yours.
This is all new. Sorry about the mustache, by the way. That was my high school grad photo. One of my 14 years of grade 12, they took a photo. So. Well, I hope there's a lesson to be learned here that if you want wonderful things to happen to you, just fabricate a resume. So look what happens. Anyway, this is, I've written something, so. I'd like to begin by extending my condolences to the families, friends, and many fans of George Reed and Brad Tippett. And Chris said it so well. Few people will ever approach, let alone match, George's accomplishments. Not everyone can rush for 16,116 yards, but everyone can and should emulate the exemplary manner in which George led his remarkable life, simply by treating people with respect, by being kind, and by being patient. I had the utmost respect for Brad Tippett from the moment he took over as Regina Pats head coach in 1989. We had some amazing conversations. Frank was party to some of them, and I will always feel blessed to have known him. Reflecting on the blessing that is this honor, I was reminded of my youth, if there ever was such a thing. People used to say to me, "Rob, you're one of the best young athletes in the country. Unfortunately, you're not very good in the city." So I decided to write about it. Along the way, I've compiled credentials that are unmatched by most, if not all, other inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Touchdowns, none. Only 137 fewer than George Reed. Goals scored, 0. Championship rings, none. The best I can do is onion rings. Mark will remember this one. Gout attacks during a Regina Aerial Touch Football League game, 1. Mark will remember this too. Number of times I was injured by a piano while playing touch football. 1. It's right here. So how is it that I'm standing shakily before you tonight? It is all attributable to remarkable people such as tonight's inductees, and to the friends and loved ones and pets to whom you were introduced, who have faithfully stood by me for so many years. Without Toshi, Warren, Strummer, Irwin, Frank, Rob, I think this is a record for Robert inductions, 3 tonight. Dawn, Kevin, Bev, Brenda, Otilla, and Wayne, and without the wealth of athletes, coaches, administrators, athletic therapists, groundskeepers, Zamboni drivers, ticket takers, concessionaires, referees, goal judges, team doctors, and everyone else who makes sporting events happen, I wouldn't have had anything to cover since 1986. And I certainly wouldn't have covered the rent. The other constituents integral to the equation are the fans and the people who have followed their favorite athletes and teams via the media. If not for the people who have taken the time to read about sports of all sorts, it would have been a pretty empty existence. Continued on next page. Oops. I've always considered myself an intermediary, a conduit between the athletes and teams and the people who follow them with such passion and interest. In both cases, what I've asked from people is for their time, and this is not something that I've ever taken lightly. Time is a precious, non-renewable resource. So thank you to everyone for your time and for trusting me with your stories. I hope I have told them well and in a manner that is respectful. Sincere thanks as well to Dick White, a member of the Regina and Saskatchewan Sports Halls of Fame, 4 Halls of Fame in total for Dick, for nominating me. An accompanying thank you to everyone with the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for all you have done for the past 23 years to recognize meaningful contributions to our sporting community. I'm very grateful to Frank Kovacs, Daryl Davis, Marlene Hoffman, John Hoffman, Chris Hodges, and everyone involved with the hall, and sorry if I've omitted anyone. And thank you to the people at my table who were kind enough to prop me up tonight. Thank you to my wife, former Moose Jaw Times-Herald sports reporter, Chrysula Philippakopoulos, even though her presence means that I'm not even the best journalist in my own condominium. I fell in love with her the moment I first saw her while covering a hockey game at the Moose Jaw Civic Center on November 19th, 1994. Thankfully, Chrysula also fell hopelessly in love with our Scottish Terrier. It would have been easy to dump me, but there's no way on earth she was going to break up with Oscar. Thank you to Oscar. I'm beyond grateful for my little family. Chrysula and Candy, our rescue dog, and wasn't she cute? Sorry, little ad-libbing there. Chrysula is joined at our table by Dr. Mark Anderson and Cindy Cherney. I hope everyone here gets to meet Mark and Cindy tonight. They are the true Hall of Famers in my appraisal, and I am honored by their friendship and their presence here tonight. Also at her table is my sister Laura, her husband Derek, and my niece Erica. Her sister Abby and my nephew Aiden couldn't be here tonight, probably because they heard I was going to make a speech. I've been annoying my sister for nearly 54 years, but for every one of those days since Mom and Dad brought her home to 4428 Acadia Drive, I've been a very lucky big brother. We both wish Mom and Dad, could be here tonight. We dearly miss them both. Mom instilled in me a love of sports, and football in particular. Together we went to 5 Grey Cups and numerous Rough Riders road games. Dad ignited my love of reading and affection for the written word. From 1971 to 1974, he was also the organist for the Regina Pats, whose considerable representation here tonight is another source of joy for yours truly. Little did I know that thanks to Mom and Dad and their involvement with sports, I was getting a head start on my homework, at the expense, mind you, of actually doing the homework that was assigned to me at Massey School and Campbell Collegiate. 2 dream jobs, first with the Regina Leader Post and now with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I'm indebted to Leader Post legends Bob Hughes and Greg Drinnan for taking a chance on a raw rookie who wanted nothing more than to be them one day. I would also like to thank everyone with whom I was privileged to work during 123 years at the Leader Post. Thank you especially to Daryl Davis and Marie McCormick for being here tonight. Thank you as well to the Rough Riders, to Craig Reynolds, Anthony Partapillo, Ariel Zur, and Kent Paul for the honor of a second career that as the year 2023 dawned could not have been foreseen. I'm so grateful that my wonderful colleagues Anthony, Thomas Udek, Tyler Daku, and Eva Fletcher could join me here tonight. Even as one who somehow, let's try that again. This is why I didn't go into broadcasting. Even as one who somehow accumulates dream jobs, I never could have dreamed of a night like this. Sincere thanks to all of you for sharing it with me, with my family members and dear friends. And thank you to George for sharing 60 years of your remarkable and rich life with all of us. We will always miss you and cherish the time you spent with us. Thank you to everyone. Have a great night.
Congratulations, Rob. Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Toshi Shinmura, a builder in the sport of judo. Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Toshi Shinmura was born and raised in Kakagawa, Japan, and was drawn to martial arts early in life, earning a black belt in karate through the Kakagawa Karate Club, and a black belt in judo through the Seidokan Judo Club in the nearby community of Yaizu. At the Seidokan Judo Club, he was heavily influenced by the teaching of his instructor, Tadashi Fukumura, and would later impart many of the teachings of Fukumura to his own students. After moving to Regina in 1977, Shinmura was encouraged by the city of Regina to open a dojo. Perhaps not surprisingly, given the influence of Fukumura Sensei in his earlier days, when Shinmura opened the club, he christened it the Seidokan Judo Club. The club operated until 1998, at which time Shinmura moved to the Regina Y Judo Club, where he was sensei from 1998 through 2016. In addition to his time with the Regina Y Judo Club, Shinmura formed the Avidhurst Judo Club in 2000. He was provincial senior champion from 1978 through 1982 and was awarded his Godan, which is the 5th degree black belt, in 2012. In addition to being a fine judoka, Shinmura served as a national A-level referee, leading the officials development committee, was a member of Judo Saskatchewan's grading board, and a certified coach for nearly 40 years. It was as a coach that he was able to impart the wisdoms and teachings to a number of top-level athletes, including Kim Berge-Kipe, Calum Catcher, Paul Ewan, and Jenna Pratt. In true student becomes the master fashion, many of his students have since become coaches of their own, including a group that intends to open a club named in Shinmura's honor. He's conducted numerous judo clinics and self-defense sessions over the years for the Regina City Police, the RCMP, and several out-of-province judo clubs, and in 2016 was recognized by Judo Saskatchewan for his efforts in the betterment of the sport by making him the first recipient of the Award for Long-Term Dedication to Judo in Saskatchewan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Toshi Shinmura.
Us. That means hello to everybody and also respect each other. Actually, I like public speaking, but I cannot do it well in English. You will have to listen very carefully and pretend you understand me. I'm lucky that all over the world, the language of judo is Japanese. I'd like to thank to Regina Sports Hall of Fame for considering me for this induction. Congratulations to the other inductee. I'm honored to be in your company. Thank you to Kimberly Kipe, a Hall of Famer herself, for nominating me, and thank you to Judo Saskatchewan President T.B. Taylor and my colleagues all over the country for submitting letter of endorsement. They are all very good at keeping secrets. I must express my appreciation for having had a wonderful sensei in Japan, Tadashi Fukumura, who trained me in the skills I needed. I wish he were still alive to witness this result. I'm very proud of the ripple effect that my sensei's influence has produced in this country. I also want to thank you, Provincial Hall of Famer Michael Nuff, who had studied judo in Japan, for giving me the chance to assist him in his effort to bring authentic traditional judo to Regina. This was a huge factor in kicking off national junior and senior medals winning on the part of Regina judoka. I want to thank you, my wife, Linda. When I met her in Japan 50 years ago, I wanted to introduce her to martial arts, and our first date was Bruce Lee movie. Since then, she had spotted me in everything I do. I never made any money teaching judo, but I feel rich as a result of it. Thank you to Judo Saskatchewan, I've been able to travel nationwide, BC to Newfoundland, to referee in tournaments. I'm very grateful for the respect my students have shown me and for their continuing friendship. To this day, I can visit them when I'm traveling, or they can visit me when they are in town, and we can enjoy socializing together, usually with sushi. One very special memory is a surprise party Urban Fast Judo gave me at the dojo on my 70th birthday. They set up a big screen Zoom, and Regina coaches, Kim, Lorna, Aiden, Mike, Chris, Catherine, Lars, and Dero were joined by Paul from Calgary, Caleb from Montreal, Kelly and Janine from BC, Mark from Edmonton, and Jana from Saskatoon. They also presented me with a new custom-made judogi and monogrammed belt ordered from Japan. I was overwhelmed. As I said before, they are very good at keeping secrets. My dream was to train an Olympic athlete, and I came very close with Kimberly Kipe and Karen Kocher, who were on standby for Canadian Olympic team. That goal is still on my bucket list, and I will be just as proud if one of my former students ended up training an Olympian. It's quite possible that can happen under Kim's leadership, or even the coach who has set up judo club in competition with our Chris and Bishop at their newly opened dojo at the University of Regina, for example. For my part, I will continue to teach as long as I can. Thank you. Awesome.
Our next inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame are the Regina Mixed 1995 five-pin bowling team in the team category in the sport of five-pin bowling. The Regina Mix 1995 five-pin bowling team won the 1995 Canadian Championships in Hull, Quebec. Team members are Frank Foscisato, Rob Salmond, Don Clearahue, Kevin Clark, Bev Prasowski, Brenda Cuthbertson, Otilla Fry, and coach Wayne Fiesel. They put together quite the run that year. In the 10-zone provincial playdowns, Regina did not lose a round-robin match, earning 118 of 144 points before beating Prince Albert 6-2 in the gold medal final. At the provincial championship, Don Clearahue's 271 average and Salmon's 263 average earned them provincial all-star honors. At the Nationals later that year, Saskatchewan finished atop the standings following a grueling 18-game round robin, earning 113 of a possible 144 points. In the playoff round, Saskatchewan had the bye to the final and watched as Quebec upset Alberta in the semifinal to advance to the gold medal matchup. In the final, Saskatchewan lost to the hosts 6-2 in the first playoff match, but rebounded to win the decisive match 6-2, winning the national crown. Individually, several members of that team picked a very good week to have a very good week. Rob Salmon's 380 was the highest individual single game score of the week amongst all teams. Foscisato had the highest individual high triple, high 4, and high 5 for the week. And Brenda Cuthbertson rolled the individual high 4, high 5, and high 6 for the week. Additional individual honors were handed out to Frank Foscisato, whose 272 average was good enough to secure a men's all-star team nod, and Brenda Cuthbertson's tournament average of 253 earned her a spot on the women's all-star squad. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our newest inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, the Regina Mixed 1995 five-pin bowling team.
Well, first, I just got off a trip to Greece. Got back here a couple of days, and now I come to this event. I drove from Calgary, and they want me to talk, and I can barely speak, so please bear with me. I'd like to thank the board members of the Regina Hall of Fame for inducting this team. We're very honored for this. And we are, in case you didn't know, the only team, bowling team, to be inducted in the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. I'd also like to congratulate the other inductees here tonight. And a little bit about our team. They're not just handpicked. We didn't go and say, oh, I'd like you and you and you. They bowl a 20-game roll-off, singles roll-off. The top 6 men and the top 6 ladies make the men's and women's team. The next 4 men and the next 3 ladies make the mixed team. They get together after the event and they give a list of coaches. I was very fortunate that they selected me. So, a couple of things about the team. It's been a while since this came on, so I'm gonna just, you notice I don't have any writing here. I'm just going off the cuff of my head. Otilla. I'm not sure how many times you made the teams, Otilla, but that was the first time. So a rookie. One thing I remember the most about Otilla is the final game, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. Grab a drink. Bev, a real spark plug on the team. Another young, first time, second time? She can't remember. I think it was the first time. Kevin Clark, the young stud of the team. Still am. One thing about Kevin, probably right now he's one of the elite bowlers in the province, and he was a big influence on our team. Don Clearahue. Don Clearahue usually makes the men's team. He's the hardest worker and practicer in bowling. This year, or that year, 95, I guess he didn't bowl as well as he normally does, and he ended up on the mixed team, which we were very fortunate to have him. Frank Facasado. Frankie, what can I say about Frankie? Grappa, yeah, right. We had that all the time. Frankie, probably the best leadoff bowler that I've ever had to coach. He sparked the team all the time. Huge influence. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Brenda, the most positive person on the team. Right from the get-go, she said, Wayne, we've got something here. She felt it. Rob Salmond, okay. The anchor on our team. Now, you heard them say how many games we won in a row. There were times when our anchor had to come through, either throw a strike, get a big count to make the win. When you win 36 games in a row, he did his job. Okay, me as a coach, I'm not going to say much, but I have some theories that I do. When I have a lineup, if it's going well, I leave well enough alone. So I explained that to the team. So there's going to be times when because 5 are bowling, 2 are alternates, there's going to be times that the alternates are sitting there waiting patiently to get into a game. I will not make a substitution unless it's needed. Probably a lot of sports fans here, and you listened to and watched the Blue Jays the other night. And you listen to Schneider go in there and take a guy out of a game that's doing very well. And I sort of look at it and I say, Bev, you had 3 strikes in a row. That's about the 3rd time you haven't had a strike, a 4th one. I think maybe I'll put in an alternate. But they would have kicked me off the team if I did that kind of thing. So after we did a few practices, we got to know each other. We go to the provincials. The provincials are, Saskatchewan is broken down into zones. We get to, where did we go, Saskatoon? We went to Saskatoon, and I think between Saskatoon and Regina, we're considered sort of the favorites in this event, and we didn't lose a match. And like somebody said, our experienced guy ended up averaging 270-something, and our anchor averaged 260-something. When you get 2 guys out of the top 5 in the event, things go pretty well. So we win that event, and we come home, we do some more practicing, and now Brenda gets her wish. We're going to the Nationals. We get there, we start off really good. In about, I think it was a 2nd or 3rd game, I won't mention his name, but I had to pull him and put in a substitute because he was plowing head pins like crazy. And so I put in the alternate, and the alternate bowled very well. We end up winning, of course, we won the game. So next game, I said, oh, things are going really good. Let's start the same lineup. Things are going really well. Of course, the guy that I pulled is still sitting there waiting. Start the 3rd game after I had pulled him, I get a tap on the shoulder. He goes, Wayne, if I ever get in again, you're never going to have to worry about pulling me. Well, you know what? Frank's a man of his word, because I put him back in. I never had to pull him in any game from then on. And I think, what he averaged, 273 in the event? So we get going. I don't think we were the favorites in the event. Well, matter of fact, I know we weren't the favorites. You got Ontario, you got Alberta. They put in very strong teams. And Quebec don't have a women's team or a men's team, so their top bowlers bowl on the mixed team. So they have a very strong mixed team. We go through the whole event. We win every game. We're in the finals. So they do a step ladder. 4 bowls 3, winner bowls 2, Of course, Quebec goes all the way up, and Quebec ends up bowling us. They were fired up. The start of the game, we were a little sluggish. We came on at the end, but not quite enough. We got together after the game. That's our first loss. And let's have fun, guys. And that's sort of the attitude we went into it. And I made a couple of tweaks. And that's why I said about Attila, I remember the game really sharp. I put her in. She bowled really, really well. And the team obviously bowled very well. And I think we won it 6-2 kind of thing. So we end up winning the gold medal. Frankie was an all-star. Brenda was an all-star, I think 255. And that's basically where it came from. So again, thank you very much to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for inducting us. We're very proud of this. And thanks very much.
If only he'd noticed the perfectly good set of speaking notes that Brenda had prepared for him and left him on the podium. Congratulations. Our next inductee to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Warren Ponchak, a builder, two sports, basketball and team handball. Warren was a fixture on the local sports scene for more than 40 years. After a high school career that included provincial basketball championships with Miller in 1978 and 1979, Ponchak went to the University of Regina, where he played 5 seasons as a member of the Cougar men's basketball team. After his playing days came to an end, Ponchak turned his attention to officiating, excelling at the local, provincial, and national levels. He was a mainstay in the Regina gyms, officiating countless RCBA, Regina High School Athletic Association, and CIS contests over the years. He refereed for 36 seasons, 32 of which were at the U Sports level. He officiated professional basketball in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. He also refereed national tournaments and university championships, with the highlights including the gold medal assignment at the 2005 Canada Summer Games here in Regina, the 2000 CIAU Women's Final in Edmonton, and the 2009 U Sports Women's Final here in Regina. In addition to his proficiencies on the court, he was also an exceptional clinician, providing grassroots and higher level instruction to countless officials throughout the province and around the country. This past February, the Canadian Basketball Officials Commission introduced the Warren Ponchak Memorial Camp Bursary, offering support funding to officials who attend a camp or clinic where the primary purpose is learning and development. Separate from his basketball life, Ponchak was also a member of the Saskatchewan Senior Men's Team Handball Squad from 1986 through 1999, afterwards becoming a level 4 coach with the national team from 1995 to 1999, and both the technical director and executive director of the Saskatchewan Team Handball Federation from 1986 through 2008. As the executive director, Ponchak helped to develop local senior leagues, a high school program, and the long-running Heritage Classic Tournament. Sadly, Warren passed away in 2021 at the age of 59. His contributions to both basketball and team handball were individually worthy of consideration to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Recognizing him as a two-sport inductee made him a slam dunk. Here to accept Warren's induction into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, his daughter Nikki Ponchak and niece Chelsea Promhouse.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to tonight's inductees into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame and to your families and sporting communities as well. My name is Nikki. I'm Warren's youngest daughter.
And I'm Warren's niece, Chelsea.
First of all, just a few thank yous to some of the amazing people in this room. First, a big thank you to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame Committee for bestowing the honor of this induction onto my dad. Another thank you to Claire Dore, who worked on my dad's nomination from Team Handball, and to the Sask and Canada Basketball Officials Associations, Neil Donnelly, Michael Champion, Mike Thompson, and Megan Penno, plus our longtime neighbor, Norbert Thurmeyer. My family and I are forever grateful to the Regina Association of Basketball Officials, especially Neil Donnelly again, not only for his extensive work on submitting this induction on my dad's behalf, but also for his work in leading the establishment of several referee camp scholarships bearing my dad's name, locally, provincially, and nationally. And we would also like to extend a massive thank you to our family, friends, teammates, coworkers, and the extended basketball referee and team handball families who have provided an incredible amount of support to my family since my dad passed. Truly, we are so grateful for all of you.
When the Hall of Fame committee announced Uncle Warren's induction, several of my basketball friends reached out expressing how well-deserved this recognition was, how he was a favorite ref among players and coaches, always fair, and providing a teaching moment when he could. I remember going to Cougar basketball games in elementary and high school and feeling like I knew a celebrity when Uncle Warren was reffing. He'd bring me onto the court, introduce me to the players I admired so much, as well as whoever he was reffing with that evening. He never had to do any of that, but he had such pride in his role and the sports he loved, and he genuinely wanted to share that with everyone he could. I feel like I really benefited from his love of both basketball and team handball, and I think that's such a testament to my Uncle Warren. It was never selfish, it was never for personal gain, it was to share his love for the sports he loved the most.
From a young age, I saw my dad's love of sport bring people together. A colleague dropped by my dad's office, time to talk about sports. He bumped into a friend at Lamac, now we're talking about sports. Getting a root canal at the dentist's office, definitely the time to talk about sports. For my dad, sport was never about winning every game or getting the most medals or trophies. It was the common thread of life that brought and kept people together anytime and anywhere.
Many people here know about Uncle Warren's accomplishments as a player, coach, official, and administrator at an elite level. But he also firmly believed in the ideal that sport is for all, especially for youth, girls, and women in sport. That's why he found just as much enjoyment in coaching and officiating at the grassroots level. Oftentimes, his schedule would have him bouncing back and forth between universities around Canada, where he was calling very high-level competitive games, and then back to a high school junior basketball tournament, where he was mostly calling double dribbles.
What it all comes down to is that my dad loved the sporting community here in Regina. He had many opportunities throughout his career to coach and officiate elsewhere, but he wanted to stay right here in the city to continue to be part of this community. And a big reason for that comes down to everyone who's here in the room right now, the people who make up the sporting community of Regina, and not just the basketball community or the team handball community or any of the other sports that my dad was involved in, but all sporting communities in the city, like the ones represented by the other inductees tonight: hockey, football, judo, and bowling. All sports make up this community, and everyone's involvement brings people together and makes this city better. And my dad just loved being part of it. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Our next inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is Erwin Klempner, a builder in the sport of football. Anyone who's been involved in football in Regina at any point over the last 50 years has likely had Erwin Klempner enter their life. After playing junior football with the Regina Rams, winning the 1973 Canadian Championship, Klempner began a teaching career in Uranium City before returning to Regina, coaching high school football for 30 plus years at Campbell, Tom, Usher, Johnson, and Balfour. Along the way, Klempner was part of 2 provincial championships at Campbell, helped Usher qualify for 2 city finals, and won a city championship at Balfour in 1994, making it back to the final the following year. Klempner joined the Regina Rams coaching staff in 1996, serving as the defensive coordinator for the national junior champions in 1997 and 1998. And when the Rams made the jump to the university ranks in 1999, Klempner jumped with them, winning the Hardy Cup and advancing to the 2000 Vanier Cup championship. He returned to coach junior football in 2005, serving as the head coach of the Regina Thunder from 2005 through 2012. He was instrumental in supporting the relationship between the Thunder and the Saskatchewan Roughriders that saw local junior players practicing with the Riders as territorial exemptions. Under this arrangement, Thunder players Stu Ford, Dan Clark, and Zach Evans all got the chance to develop into bona fide CFL players. Klempner's Thunder teams advanced twice to the conference championships, with Klempner earning PFC Coach of the Year honors in 2009. One of the first Level 4 coaches in Saskatchewan, he scouted junior players for the Rough Riders, contributed to Football Canada's long-term athletic development program, and served on several volunteer committees for staging amateur events here in Regina. And he's been a course clinician for several multi-sport workshops offered through Football Saskatchewan and the Coaches Association of Saskatchewan. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to bring the newest member of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame to the stage, Erwin Klempner. Really? You gotta go landscape for this crew?
Wow. Thank you. I don't do this very often, Reed, so this ought to be very interesting. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction, and to the directors of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for this tremendous honor. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. It is a privilege to be honored with you, and it is humbling. I want to thank Doug Folk for my nomination, and the supporters of my nomination from my longtime friend, Jim Hobson, Andrew Watt from the Regina Thunder, and Mike Thomas from Football Saskatchewan. I also want to thank my wife, Diane, who raised our 4 wonderful daughters, Erin, Heather, Sandy, Leanne, and now we have 8 amazing grandchildren, 2 of which are here today as well, Peyton and Colby. Without Diane's unwavering support of me and support of me, none of this would be possible. Family is the most important thing to us. Speaking of family, I want to acknowledge that my brother, sister, and sister-in-law, Harold, Irene, and Lori are here, and my mother-in-law, Betty. Thank you for being here tonight. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I think it takes an army to develop a coach. This award is not possible without the thousands of teammates, coaches, players, fellow coaches, trainers, equipment personnel, doctors, directors that I've spent a lot of time with over a 54-year span, and which made being involved in football a pure joy and passion. The passion started for me at an early age, growing up on the 19-block Broder Street, half a block away from the original Leibel Field. Some of my buddies and I would help Charlie Leibel organize the equipment for the up-and-coming season. I would also be at the games, manning the first down chains. I was too young to play pee-wee football, so I became the water boy, so I could be involved with the team, and I just loved practice. I always did, always will. And I got to scrimmage when they were short players, which was the ultimate joy. I think I am the original water boy. I want to commend Len Antonini and the board of directors of the RMF for keeping the name of the field when they built the best minor football facility in Canada. I know Lenny's here, and I really admire that. It's very special to have been football with me and the original, how it all started for me. Football was very good to me. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a championship team at every level that I played and coached in. A ton of great memories and quite a few that got away, and those usually hurt the most. Winning was important, but the process was the most important for me. A group of people coming together from all walks of life, all sizes, all shapes, committing to one common goal and becoming brothers, caring and supporting each other to be the best we could be. That's why losing that last game of the year hurt so much. There were tears of disappointment, displaying how much we cared about what we were trying to accomplish. It developed character, and that carries on to our everyday lives, and it helps us to be successful. What I believed in was concentrating on the process. The winning will look after itself. That is what I believe in. I want to thank and acknowledge a few people who gave me an opportunity to fulfill my dreams and my passion. Don Clark, the U of R professor at the university. He was the president of the Saskatchewan Wrestling Association and asked me to be the secretary treasurer of the Sask Wrestling. He gave a young university student an opportunity to gain confidence and responsibility in an organization. Gord Curry, he was my head coach with the Regina Rams and a principal at Campbell Collegiate. First, he gave a 5'8.5" offensive lineman an opportunity to continue his passion to play the game of football. I was a long snapper, I think that helped. He gave me an opportunity, and then he also gave me an opportunity to teach a grade 8 classroom, and I demonstrated that I could be an educator. Lyle Cullum, the department head at Campbell Collegiate. This is where my football coaching career really took off. He gave me an opportunity to coach wrestling, and then later on with football. I want to thank Bernie Schmidt, Mike Thomas, and Jeff Yowsey for entrusting me to represent Football Saskatchewan at camps, clinics, as well as be a representative for Football Saskatchewan at Football Canada coaching development programs. Also want to thank Frank McChrystal for that opportunity to coach at the elite level of football in Canada. Dave Burney, who was the team president at the time of my hiring, and the entire board of directors of the Regina Thunder for entrusting me the opportunity and supporting me to lead that team. It is truly an honor, and I'm grateful to be in the Sports Hall of Fame. This award is truly a reflection of what and not possible without the support of the commitment and friendship I received from my family, all the players, coaches, trainers, equipment personnel I played and worked for 54 years. What an army. Lastly, thank to all of you in attendance tonight for supporting me, my fellow inductees, and the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Our final inductee to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame this evening is Bob Strum, a builder in the sport of hockey. Bob's direct contributions to the local hockey scene may have only spanned a handful of years, but he certainly made the most of his time here. Originally from Saskatoon, Strum was hired by a new ownership group to be the Regina Pats general manager and a part owner back in 1979. With Brian Murray as the head coach and led by Doug Wickenheiser, Darren Veach, and Mike Blaisdell, 3 Regina players who would ultimately become first-round NHL draft choices, the Pats won the 1979-80 Western Hockey League Championship and carried the banner for the league at the Memorial Cup. Strum's Pats also advanced to the WHL final in 1982 before losing in 5 games to the Portland Winterhawks, and in 1984 the Pats advanced to the Western Hockey League final against the Kamloops Junior Oilers. Regina had a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 league final and was poised to win Game 6 and the series until Kamloops scored with 12 seconds remaining in the third to force overtime. Kamloops ultimately won the extra frame and clinched the series in a Game 7 win to advance to the Memorial Cup, but I'm not positive Bob remembers that. 40 years later, Strum says he's almost over it. His 6 seasons as the Pats GM were arguably the most prosperous in the history of the venerated franchise. The team posted a remarkable 328 win, 178 loss, 6 tie record, winning 3 East Division titles. Strum also coached for 2 of those campaigns, compiling a 91 and 51 record himself. His teams set numerous scoring records, led by offensive wizards like Dale Durkach, Jock Callender, Mike Sillinger, while rebuilding the franchise's legacy with a focus on the recruitment of local players. Players like Doug Trapp, Lenny Nielsen, Brent Fedek, Brian Varga, all had tremendous success under Strum's tenure. Strum was the general manager of Canada's first gold medal winning hockey team in 1982, also served as the general manager of the Western Hockey League's Billings Bighorns and Spokane Americans. He introduced pro hockey to Las Vegas as the general manager of the International Hockey League's Las Vegas Thunder, and worked extensively in the personnel department of the NHL's Columbus Blue Jackets and Detroit Red Wings. Strum was honored as part of the Las Vegas Thunder hockey team with induction into the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame back in 2018, and we are extremely delighted that he has made the trip here to Regina to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest inductee into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Bob Strum.
Let's go!
Wow. You know, when I played fastball in Saskatoon, I'm used to going last. I used to bat ninth behind the pitcher, so if I forgot my glove at home, I didn't play. So, anyway, Daryl told me I had 5 minutes, okay, to speak. I said, well, I'm a Gemini. I'm 2 people. I get 10. Anyway, congratulations to the fellow inductees here. It's quite a night. I think this is the most nervous I've been since I asked my ex to marry me. She didn't figure it out for 20 years. I was very fortunate about that. But thanks to Kevin Gallant for nominating me, the selection committee for this unbelievable honor. I was associated with some great people. This is not really an individual award. This is a collective award. We had so many great players, so many great people associated with it that I guess I was the one that put it together. I want to thank the ownership that gave me the opportunity to be the general manager of the greatest junior franchise in Canada. Will Klein, Ross Sneath from Regina, the Pinder family from Saskatoon, Gerald Knowlton from Calgary, Jim Clark, and Dougie Kester from Vancouver. Now, Dougie maintains he went to Central Collegiate here in Regina. He maintains that he still holds the record for the longest punt return in Regina high school football history. He was telling us about it today again, 116 yards. So we were trying to check it out, but I don't know whether even Van Stone's archives go back that far. Anyway, let's say this. When we came to Regina, the Pats were in a bit of a downer. They'd finished the last year before, but you know, we had a 3-point approach to it. We wanted to refresh the tradition of a great franchise. We wanted to strengthen the foundation. And of course, we wanted to reinstill the winning culture in the Pats. And it hadn't been that long. This was 79-80. They'd won the Memorial Cup in 74, so it wasn't like we had to reach back too far. The tradition was easy. We put up the blue and white banners all the years that they played in the Memorial Cup. They're still up at the Brandt Center. And we made up plaques. We researched the rosters of the teams that had been in the Memorial Cup and put the plaques above the lockers in the dressing room, and a blank one. Never expecting that it would be filled a little quicker than we thought. So that the tradition wasn't that difficult. The foundation was some work. We had 3 teams at that time. We had the Pat Blues, we had the Pat Canadians, and we had of course, the big team. And the Pat Blues, we had some really good Regina players. I mean, Garth Butcher and Nevin Markwart went through that program. They were first-round draft picks in the National Hockey League. Al Tour was a draft pick and played in the NHL. And Curdy Wick, sitting here, Wickenheiser, he went through that program and was a great player in Europe. We tried to strengthen it. I flew one of the first things I did, I flew to Nova Scotia, up to Port Hood, and recruited some kid named Al McInnes. And if anybody knows anything about hockey, NHL Hall of Fame Stanley Cup champion. And after 1 year, he got drafted in the first round by the Ontario League, and the Western League made us send him back to Ontario. So that was a bummer. Al's roommate was some kid named Barry Trotz. He's done okay in the game of hockey, hasn't he? 914 coaching wins, 3rd all time in the National Hockey League. Stanley Cup with Washington, GM of Nashville. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame when he's done. And we even reached out to Europe. We had a kid named Esa Tikkinen come over from Finland. This guy was a beauty, believe me. And so, you know, Tick, I said, Tick one day, he called me Booby. He's a 16-year-old kid. Okay, Booby. So I said, Tick, look, call me Bob, call me Sir, call me Mr. Strum, don't call me Booby. He said, okay, Booby. Anyway, he had to go back and fulfill his military back in Finland. So, you know, after 3 years, and thanks to Kim McDougall and Bobby Owen and Jerry Zermiak, who did a good job with that program, we decided that we weren't getting the punch out of that program that we had hoped, and so we concentrated totally on the Pat Canadians to really rebuild the foundation of the team. Regina had some good players, man. Iannoni's here tonight. Taylor Hall. Wiki went through there. Dougie Trapp, Troy Volhofer, Johnny Miner. I saw a picture of Johnny Miner yesterday. He looks like Sylvester Stallone's little brother, for Christ's sake. You got to take a look at this picture. He's living in Italy, doing well. Jason Meyer, Frankie O. Anyway, we had the people that in the program in Regina, but we couldn't beat Notre Dame. We just couldn't beat Notre Dame. So I went to the Regina Minor Hockey Association, some real good kids at that time. Bill Edwards is the president. I said, Bill, look, let me bring 4 midgets in from my list from the province of Saskatchewan. I guarantee you we'll beat Notre Dame. Samar Adelin is here tonight, first-round pick of the Edmonton Oilers. He was one. Brent Fedek, first-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings. He was another one. Lenny Nielsen, drafted by Winnipeg. Kenton Ryan, drafted by Buffalo. We not only won the provincial championship beating Notre Dame, the boys won the national championship. It was unbelievable. 1 year we had a plan, and the boys won the national championship. Lenny Nielsen scored 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to beat St. Foy 5-4. So the foundation was set. It was set. And so now we go back to the Pats, which is why we're here today. Sorry for the buildup. 79-80. What a year that was. And quite honestly, again, I mean, you get Wickenheiser, Doug, Veach, Varga, Bobek. I'll get there. I don't need the help here. Pascal, Livingston, Ziegler coming back from the big team. But we needed a coach. I got lucky. I got Brian Murray's name from Washington. They already had their eye on him. And I flew him out from Charleville, Quebec. And he was here 2 days. I hired him. We needed a man's man to handle that bunch that we had. And he was not only, he was not only gentlemanly, he was gentlemanly. And, it's interesting. We got fortunate. We traded for Bart Hunter, starting goaltender from Portland. Played 90 games. 90. 9-0. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I brought in Ronnie Flockhart and Bud Langstrom from the BC Junior League, and Ronnie was Howie Moran's in another body. 54 goals, 130 points. He signed with Philadelphia he was undrafted, signed with Philadelphia 3 months into the season. You're on cue. Mike Blaisdell came back from the University of Wisconsin, and he was, 71 goals in 64 games, Blazer. And Jock Callender came back from Providence College at Christmas time, and he was a key piece for us that year and moving forward. So it was a fun run. We lost Brian in 2017 to colon cancer. We love you, man. Miss you. And but Brian, we only had 8 or 9 returnees on that team. And one of them made a mistake of missing curfew the first night of training camp. He got to the rink the next day, the Agrodome at that time. His equipment bag was packed outside the dressing room. He went to find Brian. He said, Brian, am I switching rooms? Brian said, yeah, any room, any city you want, you're done. Message delivered. The boys went on to win the championship, as you know. And it was a great, great season, a magical season. The kingpin, of course, was Dougie Wickenheiser. 89 goals, 170 points. Another 40 points, 18 goals in the playoffs. Wow. What a season. First overall pick, Montreal Canadiens. Great young gentleman, great player, and we miss Dougie, obviously. We love you, man. We lost him to lung cancer in 1999. Anyway, the winning culture, then, it was set too, and it just carried on. The boys, 40 wins, draft picks, just kept going. The boys kept going. And in 1984, the winning culture got a little bit of a test. I caught the boys out on a Tuesday night in an establishment they weren't supposed to be in, doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. And so the next morning, I called this Dale Durkach kid into my office. I said, Dale, if you were sitting in my chair, what would you do? He said, I'd leave it up to me, Strummer. Okay. Final score Friday night, Medicine, the Regina Pats 10, Medicine Hat Tigers 2. Dale Durkach had 5 goals and 3 assists. He lived up to his promise. I would call that good management, wouldn't you? So anyway, no, I'm so honored, as you can tell. I'm excited. I've had. There were times my problem was we had too many good players. I had some tough decisions to make. I traded some Regina guys, not many, but it hurt. When in that business, you got to make deals. And so, that was the hardest part. Our scouting staff, Glenn Dirk, Brian Gross, Ernie Wells, Graham Tour, did an unbelievable job. Ernie Wells is here with us tonight. Ernie, thanks, bud. And beyond that, Here's the kicker on the winning culture. Dale Durkach, Al Tour, Nevin Marquardt, Lyndon Byers, Stu Grimson, Bobby Lowe's, Darren Veach have stayed in touch with me for 40 years. That means as much to me as all the wins we had, trust me. Now, finally, I've got a confession to make. The Regina Pats have always been my second favorite team. My favorite team is Team Strum, my family. I got to give a shout out to my ex-wife of 20 years. She was a rock at home. She had 3 little kids, 4 if you count me. And she hardly missed a game. My oldest daughter, Dr. Brianna Strum, professor at Fraser Valley University in Abbotsford, BC, could not be here with us tonight. My youngest daughter, Christy Strum, she was born here in Regina, tenured elementary school teacher in Calgary, and my son, Bobby Strum. He was also born here in Regina. He's on the scouting staff of the Ottawa Senators of the National Hockey League. Bobby was also christened here. In the arms of Brian Murray, we christened him, that's his godfather. We christened him Robert Brian Murray Strum. The culture lives on.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today.